Hello guys, my name is Sharina Yvonne Olaco and I am the representative of Group 7 of E11E. Our topic is all about, is ignorance still bliss when it comes to depression? First of all, I would like to discuss the reason why we chose this topic. The reason why we chose this topic is because we want to spread awareness among the masses regarding mental illnesses, specifically depression or major depressive disorder. We think it is extremely relevant around the world because of the ever-changing technology that pushes people to harm themselves or commit suicide. A lot of people are being ignorant about depression, tossing it aside as simple sadness and telling people who are suffering from it to snap out of it. Frankly, they cannot do so because it is a complex mental disorder that needs a specific treatment. We want to make society see the truth about depression, how destructive and how truly horrible it is. Our objectives are, by the end of this project, we aim to spread awareness regarding depression and mental illnesses in general, lessen self-harm and suicide cases, encourage people to stop belittling depression, help people spot signs of depression and other mental illnesses, and offer support for people suffering from depression. Moving on, I would now discuss mental illnesses. Mental illness refers to a wide range of mental health conditions that affect one's mood, thinking, and behavior. Mental illnesses include depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, and addictive behaviors. According to a survey, less than half of Americans can recognize anxiety, and most do not know what to do when they spot telltale signs of depression. About 14.8 million Americans, approximately 6.7% of the population, are suffering from depression, and only 1 out of 3 people seek treatment. People who suffer from mental disorders usually see it as a burden, something to be hidden from the world, which is most likely caused by the social stigma about mental illnesses. A lot of people think that depression is a simple thing that could be easily shaken, which is why people who suffer from this usually keep it under wraps. They become afraid to seek treatment, which leads to them dealing with it. Scientists and sufferers both have speculated on the causes of depression for years, and they still have not come to a definitive answer. This is because there are many different factors that can lead to someone becoming depressed. It can be caused by many things, such as abuse. Physical, emotional, verbal, or sexual abuse can cause a person to be at risk at clinical depression. An example of these people are rape victims and those who are physically abused by their parents. Next is certain medications. People who have to take medications like corticosteroids may be at risk of depression because of the properties of the drug. Next is conflict. Certain problems in life, like personal, financial, family problems, etc., may cause development of depression as well. Next is death or loss. Having someone important suddenly die may evoke a feeling of emptiness and sadness that may eventually lead to a depression. Next is genetics. Having a family history of depression might be a risk. This is one of the highest risks of depression because depression can be passed through generations, through genes, because depression is caused by imbalances in our brain. Moving on, major events. Life-changing events, even good, can still drive a person into depression. Next is other personal problems. Being cast out in a group or family can make one depressed. Next is serious illnesses. Certain illnesses like cancer, HIV, AIDS, or many incurable diseases can cause depression to the person who was diagnosed. And lastly, substance abuse. Drinking alcohol or smoking, though it makes people feel somewhat better, aggravates depression. Now moving on, let us now tackle about the psychological signs of depression. First is feeling miserable. Next is loss of interest or pleasure in usual activities. Slowed or inefficient thinking with poor concentration, leading to difficulties sorting out problems or making plans or decisions. Recurring unpleasant thoughts, particularly about being guilty, being a bad and unworthy person, and lastly, thoughts that you would be better off dead or of harming yourself in some way. There are a lot of suggested treatments for depression, and it includes CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy. This is a kind of a talk therapy, the one where you have sessions. You talk to a professional counselor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. Next is the antidepressant medication. As we all know, they take pills every day just to keep the thoughts away, just to keep the negativeness away. And the ECT for severe cases, or electroconvulsive therapy. Of course, there are also other ways as to solve the problem of depression, and this is our suggestion as a group. Number one is stop judging and or bullying other people. This is to stop them from being self-conscious, stop them from losing their self-esteem or lowering their self-esteem and losing their confidence. Next is be sensitive of what others may feel, which is connected to the next one, which is think before you speak. So everything that comes out of our mouth, everything that we say to other people may affect them positively or negatively. So we have to think first before we say things, before we say things that might offend people, especially those who suffer from mental illnesses, because they take it way harder than normal people. Um, and next is be observant. Do not ignore the signs. Always be observant, because not everyone who's smiling or not everyone who's laughing and cracking jokes are happy. Sometimes they're depressed and they're trying to mask their real emotions. So, and lastly, help depression sufferers in the best way you can. Do not judge them for being so down all the time or having the littlest things set them off, because depression does that to people. They cannot control it. It's not just a feeling, it's a disorder. It's um it's something that disrupts your mind. It controls you, and they can't really fight it off. It's not easy to fight it off without the right treatment. So we cannot judge those who suffer from depression. We shouldn't judge them, because the consequences are dire, because they can resort to self-harming and of course committing suicide. Thank you for listening. So that is our explanation. This is our project, our advocacy against ignorance about depression. Thank you.